My curiosity about the dark web started as a whisper in the back of my mind, a mixture of cautious intrigue and the thrill of uncovering the forbidden. I'd read the stories, heard the warnings, but the pull of the unknown was too strong. Eventually, I found myself installing Tor, ready to dive into that hidden part of the internet. The process was simpler than I expected, and soon I was browsing through marketplaces that sold everything from rare books to things I wish I could forget. It was a digital bazaar of the bizarre and the illegal. As I clicked through pages, my initial fear gave way to fascination. That's when I stumbled upon a forum cryptically named the Viewers Gallery. The Viewers Gallery was a series of threads, each dedicated to what they called real-time tales. The users claimed these stories were happening in real time, somewhere in the world, and the viewers got to dictate the actions of the unnamed characters via polls. At first, I thought it was some kind of interactive writing exercise, a strange game. I was wrong. I clicked on a thread that was trending. The story was about a man who supposedly woke up in a locked, windowless room with nothing but a laptop that only connected to this forum. The laptop's camera was live streaming his reactions. He could read what we wrote and respond through a chat function. The latest poll was whether he should attempt to break the door down or search for a hidden key. People were voting, commenting with a cruelty that chilled me. I thought it was all role play until a new message popped up on the screen, seemingly from the man in the room.
Please, this isn't a game. They say you're deciding what happens to me. Please help me get out.
Chills ran down my spine. Could this be real? Was I witnessing an actual person trapped and at the mercy of the dark web audience? I typed a message, asking if he was serious. He responded immediately. Yes, they're watching me through the camera. They said they won't let me go unless you help me. I stared at the screen, the gravity of the situation sinking in. I replied, telling him I would call the police.
Don't.
He typed back quickly.
They said they'll know if I try to contact anyone. They're monitoring everything. Just help me win the game.
The votes were in. The majority had decided he should search for the key. He read the poll results and nodded, tears in his eyes as he started to search the room, his movements frantic and desperate. I watched, helpless and horrified, as he tore apart the small space. Finally, he found a key taped under the chair. With trembling hands, he unlocked the door. The camera followed him as he opened it, only to reveal another locked door. He screamed. A raw, terrifying sound that reverberated through my speakers. The forum erupted in laughter and cruel jibes. I logged off, my hands shaking. I couldn't breathe. I should have done something, called for help, but fear paralyzed me. I never went back to the dark web. I deleted Tor and tried to forget. But sometimes, late at night, I wonder about the man. Was he ever real? Was he ever freed? The memory of his desperate scream haunts me, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks just a few clicks away. I don't usually share this kind of stuff, but something happened to me that I can't shake off. It all started when I got curious about the dark web. You hear stories, right? How it's this hidden underworld online. I should have just stayed away, but I didn't. One night, feeling a bit too brave, I decided to see for myself. Found a step-by-step guide on how to get in safely, or so I thought. Loaded up on security software and went in. I was just looking, not planning to touch anything. At first, it was mostly odd and shady sites, nothing too shocking. But then, I accidentally clicked on a link that wasn't like the others. It brought me to a page that was just black with a countdown in the middle. I figured it was some hacker's idea of a joke, until the timer hit 0. The screen switched to a chat window, and immediately, someone messaged me. They didn't use a nickname or something generic. They typed out my full name, started throwing personal details at me, things you couldn't guess, like where I grew up and names of my close friends. I tried to disconnect, shut everything down, but they were always a step ahead. Then, they sent a photo. It was my house taken that night, You could see my car in the driveway, rain still dripping off the roof. That photo, with the night's date on it, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I panicked, tore out all the cables, and later smashed the computer thinking it would help. I even called the police, but what could they do? No law covers being creeped out, and I had nothing solid to show them. I moved out of there as soon as I could. Living there, knowing someone could be watching, possibly planning something, it was too much. Every car that slowed down near the house, every unexpected sound at night, it made me think they were coming. I learned my lesson the hard way. Stay off the dark web. It's not a playground, it's a hunting ground, and you never know when you might become the prey. Just thinking about it now makes my skin crawl. I'm warning you because I don't want anyone else to make the same mistake I did. Stay safe. Stay away from that place. I never imagined dabbling with the dark web until that sleepover at my friend Danny's place. He was the tech-savvy one, always talking about encryption and cybersecurity. That night, after hours of gaming and way too much pizza, Danny suggested something different.
Ever been on the dark web?
He asked with a sly grin. I hadn't, and despite every alarm bell in my head, curiosity won. Danny set up his laptop with all these security layers, VPN, Tor, the whole 9 yards. He warned,
"We're just looking, nothing more."
I nodded, but inside my stomach was twisting. The initial sites were what I expected. Strange marketplaces, odd forums, nothing too creepy. But then, Danny found a live chat room labeled Deep Talk. People were sharing secrets, things they'd never dare say in the light of day. It was weirdly fascinating. Then, someone pinged us directly.
"Newbies, huh? Watch this."
A file popped up in the chat, a photo. I clicked without thinking, and my blood ran cold. It was a photo of us, sitting in Danny's room, staring at the screen. I spun around, half expecting to find someone in the room with us, but there was no one. The photo was taken from Danny's webcam. How did they do that? I stammered, pointing at the laptop's tiny camera. Danny's face was ashen.
They must have hacked the webcam.
He was already typing furiously, trying to shut down any remote access, but the chat was still active and messages were flooding in.
"Nice room, Danny. Love the posters,"
one said, chillingly casual. Danny slammed the laptop shut and yanked out the battery.
"We've got to cover the camera, always,"
he muttered, sticking a piece of electrical tape over the webcam. We didn't sleep a wink that night, jumping at every shadow and every sound. By morning, the thrill of uncovering the dark web's secrets had completely worn off, replaced by a gnawing fear. I went straight home and told Danny we should lay low for a while, avoid the dark web. He agreed, looking shaken. After that night, I spent a lot of time researching and learned just how vulnerable we are online. The realization that someone could remotely access our webcam was enough to swear off such curiosity forever. Danny and I made a pact never to revisit those shadowy corners of the internet. The incident left us paranoid for months. We'd often check over our shoulders, uneasy with the thought that someone could be watching. Our little exploration into the dark web taught us a lesson we'd never forget. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. And sometimes the things lurking behind them can step out into your life in ways you never expected.